In the past, I have mentioned my general dislike of the tier system that came out within Destiny 2 alongside the Edge of Fate. Personally, I feel the tier system killed the loot hunt more than crafting was accused of in the long run. After all, with crafting, there was hunting all 5 of the deep side drops needed, which could take quite some time, especially with raid red borders. They may be guaranteed a certain amount, but it can still take weeks to collect the whole set. The original level grind was also lengthy enough to keep you occupied even when there was nothing particularly interesting going on in the world at large after the main season's story wrapped up. Cut to now, and tier 5 weapons allow you to get all enhanced perks with 2 additional perks to pick and choose from in each column, which means you can luck out and get a perk combination for every scenario, ad clear, damage phase, and PvP if the weapon performed there too. Then you'd never really need another like it. So unless you were OCD enough to trade your Auric Disabler for a different strand precision frame auto rifle, because it had a little bit better range, you get that one good roll and you are set for the future. Sounds like that kills the grind more than just being able to pick the 2 perks you want. Alas, Destiny 2's tier system is not the topic of today's video in that way. Instead, I wanted to take a pass at another mechanic concept presented this time by Patty OTK. Apologies if it's pronounced differently. Their concept was a perk switch mechanic for weapons that had available extra perks, specifically tier 3 and above. In their comment, they opted for a default perk selection to be a, well, default, with a secondary selection of perks that, when toggled, swaps back and forth between perk choices mid-combat. Citing an idea of an outrageous Fortune heavy grenade launcher set up with incandescent and chain reaction for general purpose ad clear, and then with Envious Arsenal bait and switch for the damage phase. In terms of mechanics, this wouldn't be too complicated before considering how many legendary weapons there are, but let's ignore that for now. Exotic weapons so far have been the main source of manual toggles, be it alternate fire modes like Revision Zero's sniper mode, or the energy transfusion from Traveler's Chosen. Legendary weapons so far have no such mechanic regarding a manual toggle, so being able to swap perks this way can work out just fine. This also can solve part of the problem with loadout swaps. Since Bungie doesn't seem to like loadout swapping, but the community would absolutely hate it if Bungie disabled loadout swaps entirely, in practice loadout swaps are generally for ad clear, then main damage, and when you run out of ammo, backup damage. If you had weapons capable of ad clear with a set of decent damage perks, then anytime a loadout swap restriction is active, you'd be able to bypass it with a perk swap mechanic. Now for a reality check. Like I mentioned earlier, the sheer number of legendary weapons kind of makes this an impossible task for modern day Bungie in 2 ways. First being the ability of Bungie to implement this mechanic for the future. Since Bungie seems steadfast in keeping tiers, they'll need to make every weapon released for the foreseeable future capable of having a perk swap mechanic, at the potential of new perks giving way to more bugs, and this could be a massive development burden. Second is the issue of retroactivity. Since tiering started with Edge of Fate and onward, plenty that already existed was not included with the update. If Bungie ever did a pass updating pre-existing gear and legacy content gear sources, that would add a ton of potential sources of new bugs. Because keep in mind, even though today Tier 3 is where you source most of your extra perks, in the past, Time Loss and otherwise Master Mode raid drops would also have bonus perks, so if this perk was to be introduced there as well, it would be different and separate in the retroactive sense. All in all, this concept sounds passable. It could be the next big update reworking legendary weapons as a whole. Sadly, it's more likely this mechanic won't be a retroactive addition. Plus, the amount of work required wouldn't be suited for a random season, more so an annual update. Either way, I see the concept of a perk quick swap mechanic being a potential game changer, but I can also see it being a little extra, especially if there is an equipment lock mechanic. The perk swap would likely be disabled should that be present. Plus, I'd imagine the larger community, or what's left of it, makes a loadout to cover the bases, primary and special weapon generally for ad clear, and a heavy for main damage. It was already a very low percentile of players that capitalized on loadout swaps effectively. While a perk swap would make it easier, I'm not sure how much of the community would even bother with this mechanic, in honesty. Then again, this is largely all speculation. After all, this is being an observer of the general state of Destiny 2 and not having any sort of peeks behind the scenes. For all we know, Bungie knows how much their flagship game is on fire or burnt to ash already. Regardless, for all we know, Bungie is actually already planning on completely scrapping all the new grind mechanics introduced with the Edge of Fate, or maybe scrapping the portal while leaving the reworked stats and tiers. Here's hoping if they do abide by the latter, the light grind will be fixed up, new loadout mechanics will be less tier 5 or nothing, and there can still be some nifty loadout wizardry able to be crafted. Either way, another concept pondered, and while it sounds like the usual nifty concept with the main problem being Bungie's ability to perform, I can see this one working more than others. After all, when you swap loadouts in the current day, you already automatically pull missing guns from your other characters and your vaults. Swapping perks can be done just as fine manually through your menu while mid-encounter. Plus, with third-party applications like D2 Armor Picker and Destiny Item Manager being able to swap the slightest parts of your loadout at a click of a button externally, of all of the concepts presented so far, this seems most passable, since this is a simple mechanic, while other concepts I have covered involved visual changes, mechanic and element swaps, and newly developed ideas like hybrid elements. All of those need more planning and creation other than just introducing a new global mechanic. Wrapping up another video, I once again pose a question to you watching. If there are any ideas or evolutions of Destiny gameplay you have crafted and want me to explore further, I will be happy to do so. In case you have something along the line of expanding Prismatic's available abilities, combined hybrid element subclasses, and exchange elements on subclasses, I already covered them once before, but if you got a unique spin on those concepts, I'd be down to revisit. After all, I talk about Destiny in this way because I know Destiny better than any other game. If you enjoyed this video, a like is always appreciated, but if you didn't, I still appreciate you watching this far. Always remember to be civil in the comments, but on that note, my name is the Mad Scorpion, and I will see you in the next video.